I'm letting you know right now, if you just get focused, you grind, you cut out all the distractions, bro, you just lock in on your goal, I'm telling you, you're gonna get it, bro.
The difference between really successful people and the most successful people is that the most successful people say no to almost everything.
Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
Grind every day, one foot in front of the other, bro. And I promise you, I'm gonna be lapping these folks, bro. Give it a year. Watch what happens.
Because real men don't say shit. Because first of all, we're too busy trying to grind and be better.
Correct.
Second of all, unless we know what we know, we shut our fucking mouths. But nowadays, there's not many real men who live by that creed of like, you know, if you're on social media running your fucking mouth and shit, you're just a bitch.
Correct.
You're honestly, and that's not me trying to be some after school special shit. You really are a bitch. Real men ain't doing it. Real men don't care about that gossipy bullshit. Get to work, man.
Correct.
That's it.
You weren't meant to be average. You were meant to excel. You gotta understand that this grind is meant to make you who you're supposed to be, a dog. A little grind ain't never hurt nobody. Stop being soft. Let's embrace it. If you go through that fire, you're gonna come out real cold. That's what we want.
You gotta just put your mind to it, man. And when you are in that mode where you're grinding and coming up, you gotta just be like straight on that. Like no partying, no going out, no distractions, lock in. That's it.
I ain't got time to worry about you, man. Because tomorrow, I gotta go back to the grind. And tomorrow, I go back to the grind again and again and again and again. I don't have time to put you into the hate bank. There's no hate. It's all filtered out, man, through the grind. People don't get it. There's great joy in the grind. Great joy in the suffer. It totally cleanses your body out, man, of any kind of hate. Makes you grow up.
It's grind season, homie. It's not about today. It's about the future. You do the work now. Do the work now. And all of the shit that you could ever want to do for your family, your kids, your loved ones, it's all going to be on a whole nother stratosphere.
You just not working hard enough, man. That's the fucking truth. You're not working hard enough. You're not grinding hard enough. You're not putting your mind to it.
Like when you realize you have to make this shit work or you're falling on your fucking face, it's a different kind of grind, a different kind of mentality, a different kind of person, a different side of you that you've never seen before that comes out when you go all in.
And when you're grinding for yourself in the future. You're not grinding for yourself right now. It doesn't taste like candy. You don't feel sweet. You grinding for your future self. That extra studying you doing is for that degree. That extra set you doing is for your body. And that extra hour of editing, that's for your blow up. You gotta start playing, bro. Like dead ass, you gotta start playing. Some people need to understand that like when you so focused, bro, when you so tunnel vision, bro, like a nigga can't swivel you, bro. They can't take you off your pivot, bro. That's a recipe for success, bro. That's a recipe for success. And I feel like that you do that for a continuous amount of time, you be consistently consistent, then like nobody can really stop you. Like how do you stop a consistent man? You know what I'm saying? In order to be great, you gotta be consistently good.
You just gotta grind.
Yeah.
I feel like this next generation that's coming up, and I don't mean to smash all of them, but they seem like a bunch of pussies to me, you know? So because of that, there's never been more opportunity than there is right now. If you're a fucking savage and you get out there and you grind hard and you want it bad enough, you can run all these guys over, man.
The person who grinds the hardest always gets it. Hard work beats talent every time. Remember that.
Instead of spending time getting in the mood to work, just start working. Confront the work. People think they need perfect conditions to start, when in reality, starting is the perfect condition.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done. I ain't going. I ain't gonna keep going. I don't feel like going to work. I'm done.
Yeah, man.
It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying.
And I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul, it is so easy to beat people today. They are so soft. They have no work ethic. No one can stick with anything. Everyone's distracted. They're on social media. They're counting their fucking notifications because they can't stick with shit. They can't say no.
Now you have to do the things that discipline requires. And discipline doesn't care if you're tired. You're tired? Do it anyway, right? Discipline says, oh, you don't feel good. Well, do it anyway. Discipline says, it's raining outside and it's cold and it's windy. Do it anyway.
Discipline your thoughts. Stop thinking too much. Don't go into the past. Don't go into the future. Be in the present. Why? Because only then it's possible that the mind is free, the capacity is free, and now you can completely immerse into whatever you are doing.
I give you the map. You think you will do it that? It's difficult. It's
the discipline.
The discipline is the most difficult thing, not only in the sports, but in the life.
Discipline over motivation. Motivation's a small thing that can last 2 minutes or an hour. Motivation can come from listening to a song on your iPod. If you've got discipline, you're willing to do it every single day of your life. And knowing that it's going to take so long to do it, you just get up and do it. You don't even think about motivation.
Most of this generation quits the second they get talked to. You did this wrong, or they get yelled at. It's so easy to be great nowadays because everybody else is, most people are weak. This is a softened generation. So if you have any mental toughness, any ability, if you have any fraction of self-discipline, the ability to not want to do it but still do it. People have a hard thing understand. I hate to run. And what makes me so crazy, it doesn't anymore, is people go, well, why do you run if you hate it? What are you talking about? I don't want to take showers and eat either. I hate that too. That's life, man. It wasn't until I changed that mentality that I became somebody. I hated going to school, so guess what? I was dumb as shit. That's what, 1 + 1 is 2. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness. That's what people don't understand. By me running, I am callous in my mind. I'm not training for a race. I'm training for life. I'm training for the time when I get that 2 o'clock in the morning call that my mom is dead or something happens tragic in life. I don't fall apart. I'm training my mind and my body and my spirit so it's all one, so I can handle what life is going to throw at me, because the life I've lived, it throws a whole bunch at you.
Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important. So no matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
I always tell people that about working out. Like, fuck your motivation. Fuck your motivation. You need discipline, because motivation's not there every day. I'm missing motivation most days.
Wow,
Some
really?
days, yeah, sometimes I got motivation. Sometimes I'm like, fuck yeah, today I felt good. I can't wait to get to the gym. But a lot of days, like, gotta get to the gym. And then once I get going, then I feel great.
Yeah.
And I feel great when it's over.
What I'm trying to say is, if you can just sacrifice a short amount of time in your life to really put in the work and be disciplined, then you can actually live a life that you're proud of and live a life of all the things that you actually want. But you have to sacrifice, and you have to live uncomfortably a little bit at the beginning and not just do what everybody else is doing. Because I'm telling you right now, everybody else that's gonna be having fun right now and going out and just doing what they feel like doing right now, they're gonna be in the exact same position next year. I promise you guys.
I don't care how good you are in anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline, because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
If you want to be good, you really don't have a lot of choices, because it takes what it takes. You have to do what you have to do to be successful. So you have to make the choices and decisions to have the discipline and the focus to the process of what you need to do to accomplish your goals.
You could hear the best speech. You could take the best program. You could go to the 12-hour seminar and jump around and say, hey, I'm a different person. It's always going to come down to the two things that it comes down to for everybody. One, you have to become the kind of person that can push through the hard times. Most people can't do that. Most people cannot push through the challenging, the draining, the frustrating times that make everybody else quit. And every time you push through one of these barriers, you're leaving all of your competition behind and you're moving forward without that. And most people can't do that. So you have to build yourself into someone who has the discipline, the fortitude, the grit, the perseverance to push through the hard times, to become someone who is literally fucking incapable of quitting.
Delaying immediate gratification, it also creates discipline, doesn't it? Because the man or woman that's willing to get up every single day and go to the gym and get their exercise routine dialed in, even if and even when it's cold, it's raining, it's too hot, it's windy, the car broke down, I don't feel like it, the kids are crying, my neck hurts, I didn't sleep well, I had nightmares, I didn't sleep long enough, I overate, I underate. Even if all those things, you're still willing to go to the gym and do it, that builds some high level of fucking discipline.
Hey, guess what? It's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. It's going to take fucking a long ass time. It's probably going to take 3 or 4 times as long as you think it's going to take. Along the way, you're going to lose all your fucking friends. You're probably going to lose some significant others too along that way. You're going to get made fun of. You're going to get bullied. You're going to get harassed. You're going to get attacked on the internet daily. All right. You're going to struggle. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to owe people money. You're going to fuck up your bank account. There's going to be multiple fucking days where you don't think that you're going to make it. And those days sometimes last for months. There's going to be, nobody's going to relate to you. No one's going to understand why you're doing it. Everybody's going to question it. You're going to have to answer it every single time, and it's going to piss you off. And bro, this is the life that you're choosing. Like, you're choosing it, and then so you can't be surprised that it's hard. This is what the fuck you're signing up for.
And I think if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to fucking try.
A lot of people are afraid to even try hard, because then if you try hard and you fail, you feel like a failure. But the aspect of being a failure doesn't come from the success in the end. It comes from if you really quit on yourself, or if you don't put in the effort you know you can put in, and you're kind of holding back on your true potential. That's when I think you really deep down feel like a failure, like underneath your soul.
A lot of people can give up. It's easy to give up. You know,
Hell
it's
yeah.
easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done. I ain't going. Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I don't feel like going to work. I'm done.
Yeah, man.
It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
This shit's hard, but if you don't go through it, you're not going to get better. And you have to understand that anybody who's ever gotten better, anybody who's ever created, anybody who's ever built, anybody who's ever been something that you've looked up to has gone through these hard times without quitting. And I got all these fucking messages from people, dude. And they're like, I needed that today. I really needed to hear that. You know, I really love that you say that because you're so real and this and that. Listen, dude, I don't know who the fuck is telling y'all this shit's supposed to be easy. And I don't know who the fuck is telling y'all that it's easy for them. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're fucking full of shit. They're full of fucking shit. This shit is hard. Being a high achieving person is hard. Trying to win is hard. And when I say being a high achieving person, even if you're not yet, and that's what you want to be, it's hard. And if you commit to that path, it's hard. And it doesn't matter if your name is Joe fucking Blow or Andy Frisella or fucking anybody else, bro. It's hard as fuck.
That guy's got a message. I think one of the hardest things to hear after you don't get your way is keep working. But it's also one of the only solutions to be successful. You're not going to get your way most of the time in your life. Just keep working. Hard work pays off, no one tells you when. You'll never know the true feeling of accomplishment if you've never faced a setback. You'll never know the true meaning of confidence if you've never had to bounce back from anything. Just keep working. You're not getting what you want, keep working. You are getting what you want, keep working.
Lazy people do a little work and think they should be winning, but winners work as hard as possible and still worry if they're being lazy.
I had to always reset the bar. I had to reset my new norm. There always had to be a new norm. So one thing we don't do is we don't have a new norm. My new norm is you get up every fucking morning at 4 o'clock and you suffer. This is your new norm. That became my new fucking life. Most people want to get out of it. I said, no, motherfucker, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing if that's my mentality, this shit ain't hard anymore.
Everybody's full of shit. Nobody knows you or what you're capable of doing. And here's the reality. The hardest thing in life is figuring out who you are and what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's a big decision. I'm very blessed and lucky. I always knew who I was and exactly what I wanted to do. And once you figure that out, you wake up every day and you work toward it. That's what you do. It's impossible for you to fail if you know who you are, what you want to do, and you wake up every day and work toward it.
I fight against that. You know, it's the big challenge. It's when you're not willing to do something, but you have to do it. This is the main point. This is why I say our mind, it's a box of surprises, and you have to challenge yourself to be consistent. I repeat, sometimes it's hard. It's what many people say, you like to go to the gym every day. Of course, no. It's not true. Nobody likes to go to the gym every day. But you have to do it. Probably yes, because your mental strength is coming from that moments, that in a hard moments, you know you should do it. So, and I do it because after that, maybe in the beginning you feel hard to start, but after when you finish the gym or cold plunge or even the training, you will feel better.
That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100%.
The winners always show up. They're willing to lose in order to gain. Big mental thing there, guys. This body, as great as you are, as sharp as you make the arsenal, it can't do anything if you don't have confidence in yourself. We all fall down in life. The question is, who gets back up? You go after it and you give it all you have. If you lose, at least you tried, man. I failed. It's 10 times more of a man than someone said, what if? Because what if never went to the arena.
Fear is gone. Make up your mind that fear is not going to stop you from doing the thing you really want to do. Step out and do it today.
What if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up, or somebody say, you can count on me, and they don't come through? What if we have that kind of attitude? The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, it's not over until I win.
Fear is my friend. I love fear. Fear allows me to reach my highest potential. The fear of failing is an illusion.
Yeah.
Fear is an illusion, but we have to have desire. We have to have something that pushes us. Fear pushes us.
When you guys find a fear, that fear will either create you or destroy you. I love fear, and the reason why, behind every fear is a person you want to be. Fear is self-imposed, meaning it doesn't exist. You create it, you can destroy it too. It's an intangible. If you face your fears, guys, you will realize it's not that big. And once you face it, you go, oh my God, man, I spent all this time running from it. It was so small. If I just faced it, my God, not only did I face it, I beat it back, energy's never lost, transferred. That negative energy, that fear, is destroyed. It comes back in as confidence. You're like, what else am I capable of? What else am I holding my back from that I'm capable of more? What am I running from I don't need to? What else can I overcome?
Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
You face your fears, you become the person you want to be. You run from your fears, you're not living. You're alive, but you're not taking the freedom. You're not running the day. The day's running you. You always be the servant, not the master, guys. If you find a fear, the quickest, the easiest way you can beat it is initially, right when it comes in. If you allow it to sit, it will grow roots and start breaking you down, destroying the potential of the person you can be. Again, the champions, guys. It's not their potential, it's not their genetics. It's their perseverance to always show up, always willing to fail, because in failure, that's part of success. Success is not, a marathon of life with just ups. Success is formulated through failures, through facing your fears, through falling down and getting back up. That's what creates the champion. Success does not define us. We define the success.
The best way to fight the demons that chase you in the night is to stop and turn around. Turn around. Face them. Man up.
You have to have no fear. You have to have no fear. You have to believe in who you are and what you do, and just go fucking get it.
Never fear a storm. Learn to dance in the rain.
Success comes down to doing the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time without convincing yourself you're smarter than you are.
Today is very tough. Tomorrow is more tougher. The day after tomorrow is beautiful, but most people die tomorrow evening. You have to work very hard. Every tough days, every tough situations, problems you meet, that is the training of yourself.
When we were young, we're told we can be anything. And then we realize it's a lie. And then we realize we're telling ourselves it's a lie because we actually just realize how much work it's going to take. And we'd rather believe it's a lie than we're not willing to work hard enough to achieve these things. And then it's kind of like this back and forth of like, can I? Or is it just too hard? Or am I just too weak?
Find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people, because it lets you know that, like, everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser. At least a young person in the situation I was at. Like, I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning, until I started doing martial arts. Martial arts taught me that, like, I could get better at stuff, that I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was, like, in a fucked up situation. But you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it. And then all of a sudden people admired me. I was like, this is crazy. So I went from being someone who was incredibly insecure and basically a failure to someone who was really successful at this one thing that was very dangerous, that other people were scared of. And that gave me immense confidence and also a real understanding of the direct correlation between hard work and success.
Every position has advantages and disadvantages, and a lot of people look at the really big guys and they're like, man, they'll look at me, they're like, must be easy for Alex, right? And I remember when we had gym launch and we had a very big company, I would tell the guys who are coming up, I was like, if you're trying to compete against me, I was like, you have advantages. I was like, if you're on a sales call, you're like, listen, you're just a number to Alex. You're never going to talk to Alex, right? Here with me, you're going to get my attention. I'm the one, right? I was like, that's how you're going to throw stones at me. I was like, but on the flip side, if it's me marketing to the masses, I'm going to be like, this kid's in his mom's basement. He has no idea what he's doing. He's been in business for 12 months. And of course he has no idea. Like, wouldn't you want somebody who has thousands of success stories behind it because we've made a system? Like, both sides have advantages. And so what happens is people are in this small position where they're more nimble, they can give more personalized attention to people, etc. And they see it as a pure disadvantage. And so you can flip the fact that you have nothing going for you with you have nothing to lose. And that means that you can take lots of risks very quickly and end up in the exact same position you are, which is nothing. And so if you eliminate downside, it should decrease your action threshold, meaning you should be able to do more things faster rather than do fewer things because you don't have a great life or things going for you. And so I think if people flip that, a lot more people would take action because they actually realize the advantage of their position.
I'm capable of so much more than my mind understands. And I think that's just the greatest part of the journey that I've achieved, is like that understanding of what I'm capable of and that belief in myself to what I can accomplish. And it only came through the journey. It didn't come through the winning. It came through the challenge that came along the journey and coming through it and fighting through it and the beauty of all that. And on top of that, there's just been so many moments in the midst of things where, like, it's a workout or it's a diet or I'm starving or I'm doing check-ins or something, and I'm just like, this is incredible. Like, I'm peak conditioned in the world right now, fighting to be the best in the world, and I'm living in that moment right now. I'm doing this is what it takes. When people see something on stage, this is what they don't see, or what I'm feeling in my mind, what no one will understand, what it takes to get there. I get to experience this every day, and I think it's just part of the human experience of feeling in life that's just so beautiful.
There's no perfect way to live your 20s. You either live them up and become an underskilled 30-year-old, or you work them up and become an underlived 30-year-old. You just have to figure out which you'd rather be, accept the trade-offs, and know that there are no do-overs.
You have to separate you feeling something and you acting on that feeling. Because you may feel hopeless many, many times, but you need to continue to do the activities that are aligned with your goal. You may feel hungry, but you need to not eat the cookie to stay aligned with your goal. You may feel angry, but know that retaliating at your coworker has no likely positive outcome. You may hate your boss, but undermining them in front of the team may make you feel good in the moment, but again, destroy your long-term career prospects. And so I think creating a gap. And so I was talking to one of our CEOs who was having a little bit of stress issue, and I said, I want you to think that you're a Yeti can. I want you to think you're one of these cans that has a vacuum between both walls. I was like, you got your feelings on one side, you've got your internal temperature, and you've got your external temperature. And I was like, I just want you to do this. Just create space, and space within the context of behavior is time, which is when I feel something and I have the desire to act on it, you can, at that moment, you have the lowest action threshold, which means that you're the highest likelihood of behaving or doing something is when you have this feeling. And so I want to make as logical of decisions as I possibly can. Hopefully we're all aligned on the fact that logical decisions in general work out better than illogical decisions. And so if we make logical decisions on a regular basis, then we'll have longer term outcomes. If we want to increase the likelihood that our decisions in general are logical, then we want to create space between when we feel and when we do.
You talk about performance without a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
So, like, for instance, let's say you have no races. Let's say you have no classes, no nothing. There's no purpose in your life. You know, people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K. There's no I'm going to get into school to be this or that and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's going to come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.
Listen to me, man. You have a great life in front of you. But your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you. What you did back there ain't got nothing to do with what God got for you. What you did back there was learn the lessons to get you to where you are at this particular moment right here. But what God got for you, do you know, man, that you can actually mess your life completely up? You can jack it all the way up and you can turn around and get it right.
Find your vision and follow it. You see, I think it's the most important thing that we have a very clear vision of where we go. A goal, where do we go? Because you can have the best ship in the world. You can have the best cruise liner, but if the captain does not know where to go, that ship will drift around the world and out there at sea and will never end up anywhere. And this is exactly the way it is in real life. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a vision, you just drift around.
Sometimes life is like this dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place.
Understanding that you can't listen to people, because even my parents didn't want me to do martial arts. They didn't want me to fight. They didn't want me to do stand-up. There's like, you have to understand like who you are, and then in the face of other people's either criticism or, you know, lack of faith in your ability to succeed, you push through, and there's great benefit in that. And then you realize that you can kind of apply that to other things in life.
Some of the biggest people that we read about, we watch movies about, it's one of their two parents that did something to them. I'm with Tom Brady a month ago. We have him at the event. And The formula I see with a lot of people that do something big is three things. One, at one point in their lives, they experience unconditional love because you need it. It's fuel. You have to have it. Even if it's just from one person, okay? Unconditional love means what? You screwed up. You went to jail. You got a DUI. You got kicked out of school. You got expelled. Everybody ousted you and said you're a nobody. You're not going to amount to anything. You're a loser. You're this. But that mother there always said, honey, I love you. You can do anything to lose this one person's love. One person. That's all you need. You don't need 50 of them. Just one. Unconditional love. Number two is you need somebody who brought unbelievable pain in your life that you loved. This is a person you and I loved, that they destroyed our heart. We couldn't do anything to gain love from this person. Nothing. Perform, tell them we love them, go above and beyond, give them money, buy them gifts, give them incredible experiences, become buff, have a six-pack, drive a Ferrari, have a Lambo, own a penthouse, have a yacht, be best friends with the best athletes, with billionaires. No matter what you do, this person brought you so much pain, you can never win this person over. It is a battle your entire life, try to win this person over. You're never going to do it. It's not going to happen, but you need that person as well. And you know what the last one is? Obviously, choosing your enemies wisely. You take a person that has those three combination. By the way, very rarely will they ever tell you the entire reason. Very rarely will they fully disclose everything. Some of them will take it to their grave with them. We will never know about it. But for someone to have the kind of a fire that goes years beyond 99% of people would have stopped, what's the reason for it? What else do you need? How many more accolades? How many more tens of millions of dollars? How many more cars? How many more houses? How many more top charts on podcasts? Number one this. What's the reason for it? You know, it's again, we're not talking about everybody. Most people will listen to this whole concept of choose your enemies wisely and they'll say, that's hate. What a miserable life. What a this, what a that. No, most people chose the wrong enemies. The enemies they've chosen is about being entitled, is about being victims, about feeling sorry for themselves, and it's destroyed them. It's stolen years away from their lives. So yeah, the way you're describing what you're saying, you know, you'll typically see a pattern with those three things of people who do something big. They experience those three, and unfortunately, the reason why I like Musk's book is when you read it, you see the pattern with all three. Unconditional love, Mom and Kimball, his brother. Unconditional pain, father. Choosing his enemies wisely, industry, traditional, you know, guys who are like, this is the way we do with NASA, you know, governmental agencies, censorship, you know, establishment. He's just recruiting new enemies for himself every day. It's like bored. He needs more enemies and more enemies. But guess who's talking about him around the world? Everybody is. And 100 years from now, our kids, our grandkids will look back and say, man, who was this Elon Musk guy? Unfortunately, we're not going to be around to talk about who it was, how we viewed him, but they're going to be watching plenty of documentaries and movies about a guy like that because he chose his enemies wisely.
Thoughts aren't true. Feelings don't require action. Things aren't good or bad, they just are. Our greatest enemy is ignorance. To change your life, change your surroundings.
I think what makes life more difficult for people is the judgment they have on themselves about what they believe they're supposed to do or supposed to have achieved, or that this condition or this thing that happened is good or bad, or it should have been good or it should have been badder. And the story of the boy with the horse in the village, I'll tell it in 30 seconds, which is dad gets kid a horse and everybody in the village says, that's amazing. The old man says, we'll see. And then the kid is riding the horse and he breaks his leg, and everyone in this town says, oh, that's so horrible. And the old man says, we'll see. And then the army comes to town to take all of the young men to war, and the kid can't go because his leg is broken. And everyone says, that's amazing. And the old man says, we'll see. And the thing is that as we continue to play out the timeline of life, we can't know if anything is good or bad until the day we die. And the day we die, it won't matter because we'll be dead. And so it means that at the end of the day, all of the things that occur simply occur. And for me, reminding myself of that I think this is bad or I think this is good, it limits the peaks and it also limits the valleys. And saying, this just is. And I think it's, in my opinion, absolute acceptance of the world without casting judgment on it. And it's difficult to do because we all want to make judgments, and we have to make judgments in order to live. We have to approximate, this is a good decision, bad decision. This is a decision that will increase the likelihood that what I want to have happen will happen. But most of the good bads that we have that are coming up are not for our own benefit, are not aligned with our goals. They're aligned with one person that told us something when we were 7 years old, and then we incorporated that and we say, oh, this is bad, because someone else, when we were a kid, like, you hit your head, and then you look at the adult, and the adult says that's bad, and you say, oh, it's bad, I'm gonna cry now, right? And so there are so many thousands and millions of those tiny judgments that are passed on to us that do not serve us. And so for me, it has been more beneficial to whitewash everything and then actively rebuild what I believe to be good or bad based on those things, but with a baseline reality that none of it is.
There are things that I can't do now that I could have done before. It is going, for both of us, it is going to get linearly harder to build muscle for the rest of time. It's never going to be as easy as it was 10 years ago to build muscle. And you go, okay, well, that's an argument for starting sooner. And the same thing goes for becoming more psychologically healthy, for becoming more balanced, for becoming more wealthy, for investing in good habits, friends. Oh God, Christopher Hitchens, it is a melancholy lesson of older life that you can no longer make old friends. Like, find your people now. Find your people right now.
Sadness is a perceived lack of options. It's why it feels like hopelessness, because you don't know what to do. You don't know what options are available. You see none, which is why it feels like there's no way out. Anxiety is many options but no priorities, which is why you feel scattered but you can't decide. They feel very different, but fundamentally, those are the difference in the conditions that make people feel like they're anxious or they feel like they're sad. And so when we're working through what you were just talking about with, okay, I want to be gym guy and I also want to be work guy, we have many options, but a lack of priorities. And so we have anxiety over the fact that we're not making progress on any of them because we have not been able to say, this comes first. And so if we think about what priority means, it means prior. It comes before everything else. And what I think a lot of people have a hard time doing is being okay with saying no and saying, okay, I will allow myself to just not get fatter rather than get fitter during this period. And what's interesting about most skills is that the amount of effort that it takes to maintain a skill versus the amount of effort it takes to grow a skill is like 1/10 the amount of effort. And so this is where the effort arbitrage is so important in terms of allocation. And so if you do a 4 out of 10 on 10 things, you will make progress on none. You will make the same amount of progress that you could have made if you just did 1 out of 10, which is none. You just don't regress. But the extra 3 points that you save on the 9, you could put on one other item and have a 10 out of 10 or a 13 out of 10 in effort. And then after every periodized chunk of time, have a big W or win that you can look back on and say, I did that, and therefore I am. And so I think that that's how you step up the mountain of progress when you're trying to work on many different skills, quote, at the same time. It's just that the at the same time is over a year, not over a day.
This workout, headstrong. Because that's how you have to be. Mentally tough up here. If you guys mentally believe you can do it, your body will find a way physically to make it happen. If you are short up here, it doesn't matter what you do with these guys. It will never materialize into anything. No dream will ever become a reality. You guys have got to believe in yourself. Headstrong, mentally tough. That's the only way through the bullshit here in life. Winners, the difference between them and the spectators is that the winners have a belief that overrides the crowd's disbelief every single time. Their belief is so strong, even though they hit failure, they get knocked on the ass, they're finding the intestinal fortitude to stand back up again, face that same challenge, learning from the previous mistakes, and make it happen. Winners fail a million times. What makes them a winner is that they believe in it, they're headstrong. Nothing's gonna stop them. The spectators have tried it and failed it and remain sitting down. They don't get up anymore because they don't believe it enough. The naysayers' disbelief overrides their ability, potential, and mental capacity that they can be more than that. Champions life are headstrong. You come in here headstrong for this workout. It's gonna take everything. This is madness. This is a super fucking psycho workout. But if you have it up here and you go through it out there, guys, you will leave here not only physically dominating, but mentally unstoppable. It all starts today if you're ready to transform.
I tell you, the harder and harder you work in here, the harder and harder it becomes to accept failure out there. Second place isn't an option anymore, guys. The more you give in here, the more you get out there. Why would you not want to give it at all? What else are you gonna do? You come here and kill it right now? Or stay home on the couch? You know, watching the life pass you by. I know it sounds like habitual what I say all the time, but sometimes you got it ingrained in your head. What else would you be doing right now? Taking the time off? Or taking the time to get ahead? It's just, that seems so simple to me, that solution, that, the choice is there. If it doesn't seem so easy to you, it's because you don't believe in yourself. You believe in yourself, you want to be in here killing it. Because giving you that much more of a chance because you believe you can come that. The people that don't come in here because they're tired and stuff are people that don't believe in themselves. That's why they don't see the asset of being in the gym to grow. They see it as a waste of time because they don't believe they can ever get there. So therefore, why take the precautionary steps to sharpen and hone the arsenal to really go to battle? Because they don't even want to go to battle because they know they're going to lose.
Now, coming up on Dad's Day, I was asking myself, what's a value that I learned as a child that has really helped me become the man I am today and pursuing to be? And the one that I remember the most, and it was preached to me by my dad, is this: don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it. Boy, that never goes out of style, does it? I mean, think about it. If you're gonna do something, if you've chosen to do something, whatever it is, easy, hard, if you give it your all and you don't half-ass it, win, lose, draw, get what you want, don't get what you want, whatever the outcome is, if you don't half-ass it, at least you're not going to have to wonder, oh, would the outcome have been different? What if I did give it my all? And boy, wondering that is what keeps us up at night. So that's a value that stuck with me. Don't half-ass it. I think it's one we can all take in our hip pocket. Going forward. I also ask a bunch of my friends that same value question. Go to my stories and have a look and a listen to what they said. Appreciate it. Just keep living.
My third rule is ignore the naysayers. I think it is natural that when you have a big vision and big dreams and you have big goals, that people are going to say around you, I don't think it can be done. I think it's impossible, or no. I tell you, I heard this all the time, but I want to tell you, don't ever let them stop you from dreaming and from shooting for the big goal. Because eliminate just simply those words, no, impossible, and it can't be done. I mean, in each one of my careers, when someone said it's impossible, I heard it's possible. When someone said it can't be done, I heard it can be done. And when someone said no, then I heard loud and clear, yes. So this is what I believed in. I am a big believer of what Nelson Mandela said. He said it always seems to be impossible and still someone does it. And that's exactly what it is. And I wanted to be that one that does it. I wanted to break the new records, and I wanted to do something that no one else has ever done. So I think that's what you need to do. Don't ever be worried about that someone hasn't done it.
If you valued yourself more, if you felt that you were a better person, a more deserving person, a person who is capable of deserving high levels of love and compassion and in a relationship that's healthy and balanced, you would not let these shitbags around you who are mistreating you emotionally, mentally, or even physically, right? But if people are, making plans with you and then canceling on you, friends, family members, like I said, your spouse, they're emotionally damaging to you, they're physically damaging to you, they belittle you, it is because you have reduced your self-worth so low that you allow this to happen. You feel you are deserving of nothing more than abuse, mentally, physically, emotionally. The moment you start increasing your self-worth, your self-esteem, how you see yourself, those toxic people around you will go away because you will start creating boundaries. And the problem with your low self-worth is that you have dropped all boundaries and allowed physically, mentally, and emotionally damaging people around you.
Just think about how many times my career would have stopped. My career would have ended if I would have listened to the naysayers. I mean, it started right away when I was 15 years old and I became a bodybuilder. Right after the top, when I said, I want to be a world champion in bodybuilding, I want to be Mr. Universe. They immediately said, are you crazy? You're in Austria. In Austria, you can become a ski champion or a bicycle champion or something like that, but bodybuilding is an American sport. Forget about it, it's nuts. Then when I wanted to move to America, they said again, it's impossible. You will never be able to do that. You have no money, you're all by yourself. And then when I wanted to go into show business, after I won 13 world championship titles in bodybuilding.
When you started doing something a little bit different, your high school became very judgy, and they weren't exactly super supportive. But as a young person, how do you overcome the judgment of others if you don't have the support of people around you?
Yeah, so I have like so many scenarios in my head of like sort of screwed up things that people would do or say or what they were, and I'll explain them. So when I was, let's just say 15 to 17, I don't exactly remember exactly what age, but I started my fitness page, which is now my Instagram, and it was called 𝐆𝐫𝐢𝐧𝐝 Fitness. You know, it has a little ring to it. You know, it's like, it's clearly not my just name. It's like, oh, this brand that I'm trying to do, you know, sell t-shirts, workout programs, whatever it might be. And obviously I said I had aspirations of being a YouTuber and all that stuff. And as you're in high school, at least in my high school, back then also, additionally, it was not as normal to try to start a YouTube. There was no TikTok, like Instagram and stuff. And they see this and they see me trying to do it. I have a good physique at this point. Like there's no, it's not even like I have no physique, no nothing.
A total wannabe fitness.
Yeah,
person.
it's not even like I'm really just trying to be a wannabe. I genuinely could already be in the industry, in my opinion. I have good genetics, thank you, mom and dad. And at this point, I have like a few thousand maybe followers, and honestly, a lot of them are probably just from lacrosse. And I go to the pep rally of like freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors. Everybody's at their own bleacher. They're doing tug of war, doing challenges, battle of the classes, it was called. And I'm a freshman at this time, I'm remembering now, or a sophomore, whatever. And the seniors all chant, 𝐆𝐫𝐢𝐧𝐝 Fitness, 𝐆𝐫𝐢𝐧𝐝 Fitness. And I'm standing there and I'm like, shit, okay, I can do two things here. I can look down and just like admit defeat and like let them win, and I'm not like that at all. Or, you know, I can keep my chin up, I can look at them, I can double bicep flex and say, what do you want? What do you want? So we were going out for tug of war, and that's when they were doing it. And I just look at them and I'm like, and I flex. In my head, my soul, I'm like, I'm panicking, I'm uncomfortable, I'm so embarrassed. Like, there's the girls behind you that you want to date, the friends that you're making and all this stuff. And like, I'm trying to be cool and whatnot. But I'm like, I can't let them see that. Like it's a poker face that I got to keep on, because at least I can win that. And I feel like I kept doing that for so long. I really did like partially not give a fuck, but also you'll always give a fuck. I still give a fuck. I get a hate comment now. If I get enough of them, I'm still going to give a fuck. I'm never not going to give a fuck. If you don't care, that's just because you don't have a desire in this anymore. And I remember I do the flex, we do the tug of war, whatever, and then in the hallways they'd be like, 𝐆𝐫𝐢𝐧𝐝 Fitness, what's up, man? And I'd just be like, what's up, bro? What's up? Like, you know what? I'm on phase. I don't care. And I feel like people really started to pick up on that, and like they're like, damn, this MFer is like not breaking.
Tell me, Matthew, you're so full of yourself. And I, with that thinking, I was like, well, who else am I supposed to be full of?
That's a good line.
And I stopped after. I was like, that's exactly what I meant. And I went and wrote that down. I wish more people were more full of themselves. Not in the arrogant way, but I'm talking about a healthy ego to understand. And I understand the ego's difference between I and me. Me's the objective, but to know the I wish we were more full of ourselves. I wish more people in the world were more full of themselves. I think part of the challenges in life is a lot of us are running around half-assing ourselves, half-fooling ourselves, not full of ourselves, not studying ourselves enough, not holding ourselves to task enough, not patting our own self on the back when we do get what we want enough, not cracking our own whip on our backside when we do get out of line even though we knew better. I wish we were more full of ourselves that way.
What do you do on the days when you're just not feeling it?
Those days when I'm tired or worn out or just basically sick of the grind. What do I do on those days? I go anyways. I get it done, even if I'm just going through the motions. I go through the motions. I don't really want to work out. I work out. I really don't want to hammer on a project. I hammer on the project. Don't really want to get up and get out of bed. I get up and get out of bed. Now, these could be signals that you need some time off. And those signals might be right. They could be correct. But don't take today off. Not today. Wait until tomorrow. Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Shut that down. Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights, sprint the hill, work on the project, get out of bed. Now, as an overall rule, I do not like procrastination. You need to get things done. But if you are going to rest, that is one thing that you should procrastinate on. That's the one thing I want you to put off until tomorrow. And if, when tomorrow comes, you still feel like you need to rest or you need to take a break, then okay. But the chances are you won't need that rest. Chances are you will realize that the desire to rest was just weakness. It was just the desire to take the path of least resistance, the downhill path, the easy path. And by simply going through the motions, you overcame that path. And you stayed on the righteous path, the disciplined path. You stayed on the war path, which is right where you know that you belong.
Is you're organizing your mind so you can put that discipline. So a lot of people talk about discipline. Okay, great. Why do you fall off the fucking wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine? Going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods. It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuffed in your fucking brain. You don't have it compartmentalized and organized in these nice shelves. Like you look in the garage, it's all fucking a nice organized militant garage. Hey, where are my dumbbells? Right there. A lot of people whose brain, hey, where's my dumbbells? Let me look. They're fucking throwing shit. They're looking through totes. They're all fucked up. So where am I gonna put discipline in that mind if I can't find other shit? You gotta be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. So that's what I'm talking about. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little fucked up piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind.
Because it's on such a knife edge.
That's right. And people don't get that. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate 2 hours every single night, because I refresh, I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. So then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in this right spot. So when I wake up, I'm ready to go.
How many times we sacrifice quality for quantity? The two don't have to be separate. Now, you may have to make some sacrifices of quantity to have more quality, but I think we should give quality more credit than we do.
Well, are we not ultimately having more quantity in the hopes of more quality? You're sacrificing.
But that's not a quid pro quo. It doesn't equal out to that. We believe it will, and hey, it can access. I mean, I got a lot of things now for money I've made that I'm like, damn right, man. I'm glad I have that. That makes my life not even more convenient. I actually like that more. I like what I can do with my family more with that. I like what Camille and I can do as a husband and wife. I like what I can do solo even more with that and enjoy it. And again, it feeds me. But would I be any less happy if I had a 30, a 40, a 50th of what I have right now? No. I know that. I know I'd be any less happy. No way I'd be less happy. Do I want to give all that away and say, well, it would make me poor? Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you need to be more poor. Other times I'm like, No. Don't be getting the imposter syndrome on this one. You're using it for pretty good. You could use it even better, but don't get mad at it. You know what I mean? I think we just need to ask ourselves that question: relevant for what? And also, in the pursuit of quantity, which is what the world rewards, ask ourselves, watch out, just drinking the Kool-Aid and go, what is the quality? What do I want? And again, that's a hard question of what do I value the most? What do I really value the most? And it's a hard question to answer, but if we can answer that, make sure it makes us answer the quality question of what we want more of, and not just the quantity question. Because a lot of us, I've done it too, been blind as could be, chasing the quantity to see, let me see if I can get the biggest number.
That's dopamine, Matthew.
Dopamine Matthew. And I'm pretty damn good at it. If I want to put on my business hat and go, that's all I'm going to be right here, found out I'm pretty good at it. But I don't want to stay in that dopamine Matthew on that. Because I don't get the reward. I get the reward of the acquisition, but the acquisition does not equally pay back the dopamine of the getting. It's the conquering. That's the hit, you know? Redefine. Everyone can have their own definition of success, and ask yourself, can I have quality with the quantity, and can I have profit with my success? And profit leans into relationships. I think profit ends up to be a spiritual question too. And how we treat ourselves and others. I think it's a longer game. This chase for just success, if that's money and quantity, is a short-sighted game. If that's all you're after. Now I understand some people out there who can't pay their rent, who are sick and trying to make it to the next day, would listen to this and go, easy for you to say. And I say, you are correct. I'm speaking from my position, because you asked me. Because you got some people that are going, this is a hyperbolic conversation you're having. I'm trying to make it to the next day, man.
Type B person with a type A problem thinks, what a champagne issue that is.
Yeah. It's a real one, and I'm apologizing for it, but I understand the difference. But I would say that if more people that are type A or maybe things are working out, just check your quality as you're chasing your quantity, and make sure that whatever you're succeeding at is giving you actual profit and actually paying you back.
Your gut tells you. Your gut will tell you who your real friends are, and then time will prove it over and over again. I'm telling you, trust your gut, because odds are, and if I can go back to even late 20s, early 30s, there were people in my life who later time proved that they were shitbags, they were douchebags, they were trying to take advantage of me, the opportunities that they saw that they had with me as my businesses were launching, right? And I had a gut feeling, but what do? We ignore it because you really don't have evidence, right? Now, as I'm 50, let me tell you, the last decade, I listen to my gut more than I listen to the words that come out of their mouth. If someone's like, hey, bro, I'm a good person, we're friends, I think you're awesome, you're funny, I think we should go into business together, all this shit, they can say whatever they want, their social media can show that they have a great reputation, etc. If my gut doesn't jive with them, I get some weird gut feeling about you, fuck you, bro, we are not doing business. I might keep you as an acquaintance, but you're always gonna be arm's length away. And I can tell you this, I can name off easily a dozen people in my life over the last 20 years that my gut sent me a message that something's up with this person. They're not congruent. They're not being honest. They're here to take advantage of you. But I had no actual evidence, and I ignored those voices in my gut. That's really your conscience, by the way, if you're wondering, like, what do you mean your gut? It's your conscience. And so, it took all these times for me to fall flat on my face and go, fuck, my gut was right a couple years ago. My gut was right 5 years ago. My gut was right 10 years ago. Now, it's a very different thing, man. I trust my gut. I trust my conscience. And if we're not doing business, we're not doing business. That's that. All right.
The worst thing that can happen to a man is become civilized. You lose that fucking fight. You lose that, why the fuck am I doing this shit? I'm good. You ain't good, man. You ain't never fucking arrived. And that's just my mentality. You may have more, but you never fucking arrived. You want to be uncommon amongst uncommon people. Period.
Uncommon amongst uncommon people is one of the greatest ways to put it.
That's it. Like if you're like, for me, what got me in trouble with the Navy SEALs is I wanted to be one so bad. So bad. I fought my ass off. And I saw them as uncommon people. Very uncommon. But once you become a Navy SEAL, you're all Navy SEALs, so guess what happens? You're fucking common again. I wanted to be uncommon amongst uncommon people. I wanted to be the guy, I don't care if you fucking like me, I don't care if you don't understand me, I didn't give a fuck. Once I went through this fucking journey, this path of life, you ain't got, there's a whole bunch of fucking guys that don't fucking like me. I don't give a fuck. I'm a warrior, period. There's a lot of guys that have been in a lot more combat than me. A warrior is not always that. A warrior is a motherfucker who says, hey, I'm here again today. I'm here again tomorrow. I'm gonna be here the next day. I'm 50 years old, I'm still fucking getting after it. It's a person that puts no fucking limit on what's possible.
I work all the time. I have no hobbies besides working out, if you can consider that a hobby, like 4 times a week. That's it. I work all the time. That's all I do. And I work until I can't work, meaning like my output per unit of time starts to drop precipitously. And then I know that I just need to take a break of some sort. And then I usually binge some sort of television because that's what for me works. Some people are like, I garden. That's not me. Netflix, I'm good. You know what I mean? Or dark room in a movie theater, rocking. And that's okay. Like, why do I need to take their expectation of what they want? Like, they're like, that's not healthy. I'm like, define healthy. I do as much as I can of the thing that I want to do with every minute of my day. Why is that not healthy? Why do you want me to do something that I would prefer to do less? Because I do what I do every other minute of the day because that's what I want to do. Almost like, how dare you cast your expectation of your life onto me? And to be fair, to the same degree, they can not work at all. Doesn't affect me. Like, I'm a big advocate for destroying should, the word, in general. Should is just like the expectation motor of like all of our psyches. You should go to school. You should get a degree. You should do this job. You should marry her. You shouldn't stay up so late. You shouldn't work so hard. You should be more balanced. You shouldn't be working out so much. You're not working out. Like, there's all these shoulds that other people tell us. And it's like, and you zoom out and then you see that it's a galaxy with a little dot of dust. It's like, should what? There is no should. Do what you want to do.
I'm comfortable with the understanding of hard work brings great rewards. This is a reminder of the hard work and dedication that I put into everything that I've done. I'm not content because I know where I came from and I don't ever want to go back. That doesn't mean I don't want to go back to the city. That doesn't mean I want to go back to the people. That means I don't want to go back to living like I once was.
What does don't half-ass it mean to you?
If you're going to do it, do it. Say what you can do. Do what you say. If you can't do it, don't say you can do it. Don't over-leverage yourself. Don't over-leverage a decision and then jump in and kind of dip a toe. I think I'll try it out. No, think if you're going to try it out beforehand, but when it's time to go, dive. Finish it. Find out. Come out the other side. Don't leave it and go, ooh, if I just would. That keeps me up at night. I think it keeps a lot of us up at night. When you half-ass something, you just don't know whether you failed or succeeded, got what you want or didn't get what you want. Finding out and looking in the mirror and going, I didn't half-ass it. I went all the way. I found out, and that ain't for me. Or I found out, and you damn right that is for me. That's a great place to get to. But the limbo of not knowing, if you half-ass something, the limbo of going, I hedged my bet.
What could have happened?
You don't know.
A lot of people were like, no, but what if you don't have any successes? Like, how do you get started? And I still think that the quote is 100% valid. It's that they don't realize the validity of the smaller things that they have done up to that point. And so it's being able to transfer your successes of like, okay, like, did you get dressed this morning? Like, did you get in front of the computer? Like, you have evidence, it's smaller evidence, but you have enough evidence to make the claim that you can do this. And then you do that enough times that you have enough evidence to make a claim that you can do this and support it. And I think that's where the big outcomes come from, lots of constrained tiny impulses of saying like, you know what, I'm gonna get this tiny victory and I know how to say no to that. I know to say no to heroin today or whatever.
Yep.
That would be a hard one, you know.
Larger impulse, yeah.
Probably larger. But that's the idea, is just stacking as many of those pieces of evidence that give you proof that you are who you say you are, that you have done what you say you can do.
It's so easy to be successful nowadays because people are weak.
Yeah.
Everybody's weak. Dana White says it as well.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, it is so easy. If you are even a like weekend savage. You will run these kids over. And for every single person, it's giving me chills again. For every single person that likes to castigate the very padded victimhood mentality of the modern world, okay, cool. Like you can rail against people that say that the world is against them, even though it's not, and etc., etc. How does that inform the way that you should operate in the world?
Right.
Well, okay. What you're saying is everybody else is fallible, weak, fragile in some way or another. How does that inform the way that you act? The way that you should act is, holy shit, if I have even a modicum of resilience, this makes the market environment for me so much easier. Whether I want to get the girl, buy the house, become successful in whatever domain I choose to, the bar is set so low. Everything changed for me when I realized that we're not meant to feel excited and perfect all the time. I started accepting that where I am right now is where I'm genuinely meant to be. Tough days are all a part of the process. Lean into them. Bad days are also part of a very good and meaningful life. So on my toughest days, I think about getting through one more day, one more workout, one more rep.
The stress is okay to feel in adversity. It's where the stress leads you that you need to avoid. You need to prevent the stress from being strong enough to make you avoid adversity in the first place. If you start to feel stress about adversity, I think diving right into it is like the secret for growth.
The best way to move through the world is to see your entire surroundings as immutable and you as mutable. You're the only mutable thing in the entire world. You're the only thing that can change. Everybody else, people, opinions, places, economy, politicians, policies, all of that, none of that's going to change. You can change. That's it.
Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn. You know, with people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever.
If there was a big meta indicator that you're doing the right thing, doing what everyone isn't doing is already probably the single biggest indicator that you're doing the right thing. Like if I could wish nothing else on my child whenever I choose to have them in the future, is that they have high agency, which is that they make decisions independent from the opinions of other people. And when we hear words like authentic and original and things like that, it's because the person starts at square one and says, well, what do I want?
Because the more discipline you have in your life, the more freedom you will end up with. So if you lack the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up being a slave to disease. If you lack the discipline to work hard, save your money, you will end up a slave to finances. If you lack the discipline to manage your time correctly, you will end up with no free time. If you have self-discipline, if you have the discipline to save your money and work hard and invest your money properly, if you have the discipline to manage your time correctly and not waste a bunch of time, if you have the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up with freedom. And I know it's a counterintuitive, it's contrarian, but I've seen this over and over and over again. If you want freedom in your life, you have to have discipline.
But you have to go into those dark chambers that we often shut off, and you got to open them up. You got to open up and fight that fucking demon, get in there, talk to that motherfucker and say, what's up? And we all like to take this 4-lane highway, the easy highway. It has fucking signs, it has restaurants. We all love that 4-lane highway. We always step over the shovel. And all I did was I picked up that fucking shovel, and that shovel, I made my own path. And you may have big boulders and shit. They may be getting 200 miles up the road faster than you. But going through this path of life, this journey over here that you make yourself, that's incredibly difficult. What comes out the other end of that motherfucker is some glorious shit that you can't even explain to people. And we're afraid. Bottom line is, most of us, even the people who have all these theories and shit, it's easier to accept the fact that I'm just not good enough. I wasn't made to do that. And yeah, some of us can't be LeBron fucking James. But I tell you right now, man, we can do a lot of shit when it comes to this pure on guts and willpower and getting through shit. We have a lot more with a lot more than what we think we have.
So you make promises to yourself, you make promises to other people, and you destroy your reputation with other people. And that's a terrible thing. And it takes a long time to fix that. But the one that's the hardest one to fix is the reputation you have with yourself. You make promises to yourself and you break promises to yourself. Because the thing is, you're the only one who's holding you accountable. And I think a different version of happiness, in my opinion, is respect for oneself. And I think your own respect is the hardest to earn because you know how hard you could have pushed. You know if you could have gone for an extra mile, you could have showed up to the gym more times, you could have eaten better, you could have made more cold calls, you could have done more reach outs, you could have made more content, you could have actually done left a nice note for somebody on your team when you were too tired to do so. You could have over delivered on the product, you could have made a better version of that video and you decided to put it up anyways, even though you knew it wasn't as good as it could have been. And so you make promises to yourself and then you break promises to yourself and you lose respect in the process. It's an excellent way to stay poor.
You read a bunch of fucking books and you think that you know how the fucking mind works and shit. I had gone through hell since a kid and then all the way up until now.
Right.
So I know, so that theory is bullshit. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there you can read from people, but I had lived hell. And when you put yourself in hell, that's the only time you can figure out how the fuck to get through that motherfucker. You can't read somebody else's book about some theory on how to do shit. Some guy who sat up in their nice warm office and wrote some book with a nice cup of coffee in the fucking hand. No, I want to see that guy who immersed himself in fucking hell. And he thought about quitting and leaving and his wife and his kids. And why am I here? Is it worth it? All this crazy shit. And still said, and found out a way to get through it. So basically that's the bottom line of it all. We all want to read about how we can quickly get somewhere. That's why the 6-minute abs and all sort of shit is so powerful. You may get some results from it, but they're not permanent. The permanent result comes from you fucking, I say it all the time, you have to suffer. You have to make that a tattoo on your fucking brain. So when that hard time comes again, you don't forget it. You may forget it for a second, but you can go back in the cookie jar, I call it. It's something that we've all endured. I call it the cookie jar, and we often forget how hard we are, but you gotta reflect back. Take a couple seconds, reflect. I've been through this, I've been through that. And then remind yourself, I'm a bad motherfucker. And then you can get through that shit. But if you don't believe it, you haven't endured shit, you're just blowing smoke, man. And you're not gonna be able to get through anything.
I'm a hard worker. I was never great at anything. Like as a kid, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, I wasn't the smartest, but I did know that I could work hard. I had to work hard. And I listened to people. I didn't think I knew everything. Even sometimes I'll joke about, when you're young and arrogant. Even when I was young and arrogant, like we all are when we're 23 years old or 22 years old and you're young, you think you know everything. Even then, I always had that little you don't know everything. And I think that humility played a big role in me being able to be successful because I was never afraid to say, hey, I'm not 100% sure what to do right now. What do you guys think? Or, hey, I feel like I've reached the limitations of my thought process. I need some help. And so I think that's one of the main reasons that I was able to do a good job.
Find something that works. Dear God, find something that works and then stop doing it. Think about it. How many of you have needed to make money last minute? You had to pay payroll, you had to pay taxes, you had to pay some bill, unexpected, surgery, iPhone, whatever, right? Some bill comes up and you need to pay for it and you find a way to make the money. Because if you're watching this video, you're still alive, right? So you found a way to pay for it. What did you do there when you needed to make money? You heard something messed up? You were willing to make money and you had the ability to make money when it was for someone else and not for yourself. Think about that. You had the ability, you knew what to do, and you just chose not to do it. You stopped doing it as soon as you paid someone else's bills because you were willing to pay other people's bills and not your own. Interesting. Which leads me to one of the most shared tweets I had recently, which is most people know what to do to achieve their goals. Most people do know what to do. People are like, I don't know how to lose weight. I'm like, yeah, you do. Stop eating shit and move. You know how to do that. You want to make money? Start making calls. Start reaching out to people. Start promoting the thing that you are trying to sell. Not complicated. I got this thing. Do you want to try it? No? Cool. Talk to somebody else. Got this thing. You want to try it? No? Cool. Call somebody else. Right? It's not complex. It's not complicated. But people just don't do it. It's because they're not willing to do it.
Your biggest enemy is you. People don't understand it's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you. Sun don't stop for nobody, man. Sun don't fucking stop. Sun gonna be up in the morning regardless. That sun is gonna be up in the morning regardless of how I fucking feel and how depressed I am. The sun is gonna fucking shine in the morning, and at nighttime the moon gonna be there, and you gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by. So do you let the days go by and look up and you done wasted a year doing what? Or do you just pick it up? All right, well, gotta figure it out, made some mistakes, life goes on. Let me figure out life from this point.
Just shut up and let me enjoy this pain. I don't want anything to numb it. I don't want anything right now. Because what I had done was I just, in my mind, and people will take this wrong and take it as wrong as you want to, I don't really care. I had just climbed a mental wall that was amazing. And I didn't want anybody to take that pain away from me at that point, because that was all confirmation.
If everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as, I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person. And I think that was the flip that I've had repeatedly shown to me in my life that allowed me to take the step that I was afraid to take.
Don't measure success by a few bad weeks or even a few bad months. And to be honest with you, even by a few bad years, right? Like, you will go through cycles in life where you're having a few bad weeks, months, and maybe even a few bad years of bad luck, or what seems like bad luck. Just understand that, at least from my life experience, no matter what's going on, no matter the adversity, the hardship, the punishment that you feel like you're getting, all of that there is there to forge you. You only realize later in life, as you go further down the road, you realize later in life that, man, those adversities, those hard times, those times when felt like I had my back against the wall, sometimes maybe physically, sometimes metaphorically, in terms of financially, you're broke and maybe your honey left you and you have no path in life and people have counted you out and they just feel like you're just a loser and you're the only one that feels like there's maybe some like glimmer of hope. There is. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, because it's times like this, during these times of like, bad weeks, months, and years, that you learn the most. We never lose. We either win or we learn, right? So if we know that to be true, and I'm 50 years old now, I do really well in life. I have multiple businesses. I've sold some of these businesses. I've gained a lot of money. I own homes and properties and a ranch and cars and all the cool shit, investments and crypto and all that stuff. And at 50, you think 50's old. It's not. You keep yourself up and it's not. So I'm here to tell you, keep putting one foot in front of the other, even during the tough seasons, even during those tough times that you feel like you can't take a giant step forward. Just take a little inch forward, right? Forward progression is what we're looking for. Over years, that forward progression will compound, because when you have those winning weeks and months and years, you're not just taking inches forward, you're taking like quantum leaps forward. And all of a sudden you realize the stuff that I learned, the mental toughness, the emotional resilience, the forging under stress and duress that you got during the bad times make you so much stronger, faster, more resilient, and capable during the good times, right? That you start literally passing everybody else by. And that's what I've done.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. Gosh. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it. Really was. Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up.
Those I can't catch a break guys, get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't buy it. Because everybody has bad breaks. I've had a shit ton of bad breaks. But you know what I did? I stayed up. And I thought through it. And I figured out what the fuck I did wrong. And then I went back. It's like, I fucked up everything I've ever done 100 times. There's no other way to do it. And I've had a bunch of shitty breaks. Everybody has. But you got to realize when you have those shitty breaks what that is. It's an opportunity for you to reassess, reboot, get better, figure out another way, find another way through. It's just little challenges. And the people that look at those challenges and go, why do I always have these challenges? They're cancer. Those people are dangerous to be around. They will rob you of your enthusiasm. They don't give you any fuel. They're the opposite of fuel.
Yeah.
Like the fuel people,
they're the whole
the people
tank.
that are kicking ass, the people that are out there just fucking hustling, always getting things done. The guy, like my friend Jocko, every morning I'll check his Instagram page, 4:30, shows a picture of his watch, get after it. He's out there working out 4:30 in the morning. He does it every fucking morning. Why? Because he doesn't want to. And that's how you do it. You go and get after it. You don't make any excuses. And those kind of guys are fuel. But those I can't catch a break guys, they're the opposite of fuel. They're just pissing on your fire. They're no fun. And then the people that surround them are all idiots. Because only idiots want to be around I can't catch a break guys.
Yeah.
Only the dummies stick around. After a while, even if they're your good friend, you got to be like, bro, you got to fucking stop. You got to stop with all this I can't catch a break bullshit. All the time you're complaining, you could be instead hustling. You could be instead chasing your dream. You could be instead figuring out what you're doing wrong, trying to improve certain aspects of your life, getting your shit together, reading a book, meditating, something. Fucking something. But this I can't catch a break shit is not helping anybody, and it pushes everybody away from you.
Well, guess what? You can go out and get this shit too. I'm trying to tell you, it's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, a lot of blessings, a lot of luck. It's lucky. But at the same time, you have people that work years and years and years and years, and it finally will pay off. If you work extremely hard at whatever you got going on, something that you love to do, I swear to God, your life will change. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, your parents might be the hardest people in your life that you gotta convince. So unfortunately, if you're living under the roof and you're still taking their money and you're still eating their food, you gotta listen to them. You gotta either get a 9-to-5 job on the side, you gotta go to college, you gotta listen to them, bro. You gotta respect your parents, you have to. However, once you start getting that leverage to where you can be like, yo, mom, dad, look, fuck off for a little bit. Let me grind at what I got going on right now. This is something special and great. Don't ever fucking let somebody let you down. Don't ever let somebody tell you cannot be something, bro. I'm telling you, bro, you guys are all amazing.
I had to convince myself that I'm gonna make it, regardless of how people felt at that time. And what it does is it makes you feel like, well, it made me feel like there's gonna be points that people are gonna mistake my confidence for arrogance, because they don't understand the process I went through. And how much I had to believe in myself in order to make these things happen. I feel like you can will yourself into a good space. Like, things that are meant to happen will. And if you believe in yourself enough, you can help yourself learn. You can inspire, yourself in different ways where you can actually discipline yourself, to the point that you can become good enough.
Just stay focused, you understand? You know what I'm saying? Keep your mind straight on the prize. Don't let nothing get in between. You know what I'm saying? You gotta focus up. Like my boy Fabio said, fully focused. You know what I'm saying?
Fully focused.
You gotta be fully focused. You can't let shit get in between the way you and your goal. You gotta just do it. You gotta just do it.
They call it crazy. I call it focus. Don't ever let a sucker try to stop you from achieving your dream. That same dream that keeps you up at night. That same dream that gets you emotional every time that you think about it. That same dream that you know that will change your whole family's life. Yeah, that one. Don't let no one try to play you, bro. Go get it.
It's time to stay focused. It's time to decide, fuck clubs, fuck partying, fuck trying to fit in and socialize, rub elbows with everybody so people can stop calling you weird. Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you staying on the basketball court so much? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you out there practicing in the hot sun when ain't nobody else out there? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you not clubbing? Like every time I text you and invite you to go do something fun and cool, you always studying? Because I'm trying to get it. Let me tell you something, homie. These women ain't going nowhere. These clubs, these parties, all this shit ain't going nowhere. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your shit, molding and shaping and developing your ideas and your craft so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you gonna fly.
You have to be crazy enough to think that it's possible. That's how you fucking do something worthwhile. That's how you beat the fucking odds. You have to believe it's possible. Okay? And when you believe something is possible, everything else will figure itself out.
Stay focused. Don't listen to nobody. Don't listen to nobody, homie. What's on your mind, just do it. Because what's destined for you, you gonna get it.
First question is, how bad do you want this? If it's as bad as you want to live or breathe or sleep, whatever the hell it may be, I can work with you. But a lot of people, most people don't want it that badly, which is why they always ask the question, man, how did you get to where you are? You know how to do it. You know exactly how to be you or how to be me. You don't want to do it. So I can't make you do it, and nor do I have the time or energy to force you into that place that I know you have to be to do it.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit what anybody says or what anybody thinks. I have this mindset. I know exactly who the fuck I am. I have my circle of people that I hang around with who know me and know what I'm about and whatever. And anybody else who doesn't like it or doesn't want to, fucking bad.
I don't give a fuck about what anybody else is doing. How hard is it to understand? I don't watch people's stories on Instagram. I don't give a damn. Like, I don't care about anybody's fucking pancake at the souffle shop and whatever, dude. I don't give a damn. I'm living my own reality. And people are out here worrying about what I do. Don't worry about what I do. Watch the podcast and go fucking level up. Go touch some grass. Go do a handstand. Go eat some organic oranges.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's what really, really counts. Is you think everybody cares. I want to tell that young lady, I won't say her name. Do you think people really care about this and about your friends don't want to talk to you? That's bullshit. In the end, nobody cares, right? So live your life and don't worry about bullshit like that. Nobody cares. And it's true. How many times have I said that? What are you worried about? Nobody cares.
If my life was a movie and someone were to watch it, I hope they'd be inspired to take risks, not just risks to achieve success, but embrace feeling, both pride and shame, fear and excitement. Personally, I want to experience as much life as possible, and that only happens when you embrace the highs and the lows. And this is your thing about not just numbing the bad, but numbing the good, numbing the joy.
I was like, I feel happy, but like I'm not like overjoyed and excited and like ecstatic. And then my therapist put it back on me. She's like, well, what about the floor? Do you have a floor of negative that you're willing to feel? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't want to feel the bad shit. She's like, well, they expand at the same time. You open up a broad spectrum of emotion and you build your heart to feel these things. And if you don't have a high, you don't have lows, it doesn't come. If you numb the bad, you numb the good. And that's kind of where that all came from. So learning to embrace all those things. And the funny thing is when you learn to embrace them, they're way more fleeting than you realize. To sit on something in your mind for a while, to stress about it and not want to feel it, it lingers for a long period of time. But to just embrace it and to feel it, to cry, to express it, to however it needs to express itself out of you, it happens a lot quicker than you think, and you're able to move through it. And then when you look back at it, you're like, that was kind of beautiful, you know? Like, people love watching sad movies and crying sometimes, and you're sad in the movie, and you're like, fuck, that was really sad. But you go back and you watch another sad movie. You know, we like feeling things. We enjoy emotion. It's the human experience is highs and lows. There is no high without lows. And I think just being able to accept that there's inevitably going to be shit times in your life, and the more you can lean into them and feel them, the more you can lean into feeling to the high ones as well. And it's just part of the journey.
There have been so many times in my life where I knew I needed to do something, and then I filled all this extra time not doing that thing. And then the moment I did it, I was like, wow, that took way less time than I thought it was going to take. And not only that, it took way less time than it took me to delay to actually get to this point. And if I had only started with just doing what I was supposed to do, I could have done 4 or 5 other things that I was also supposed to do by this exact same point. And so thinking about it from that perspective, I've tried to eliminate as much time between I think I should do this thing and beginning doing it. And I think you get this positive reinforcement cycle that occurs every time you start. I call it pulling the thread. It's like, I just need to start pulling the thread. And then all of a sudden what feels really unknown becomes very tangible. And you're like, oh, I understand the 6 problems I have to solve to do this big thing, but now I know the problems, and then it feels like you can wrap your arms around it, and then you can start taking it one bite at a time.
Now, coming up on Dad's Day, I was asking myself, what's a value that I learned as a child that has really helped me become the man I am today and pursuing to be? And the one that I remember the most, it was preached to me by my dad, is this: don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it. Boy, that never goes out of style, does it? I mean, think about it. If you're gonna do something, if you've chosen to do something, whatever it is, easy, hard, if you give it your all and you don't half-ass it, win, lose, draw, get what you want, don't get what you want, whatever the outcome is, if you don't half-ass it, at least you're not gonna have to wonder, oh, would the outcome have been different? What if I did give it my all? And boy, wondering that is what keeps us up at night. So that's a value that stuck with me. Don't half-ass it. I think it's one we can all take in our hip pocket going forward. I also asked a bunch of my friends that same value question. Go to my stories and have a look and a listen to what they said. Appreciate it. Just keep living.
The path of personal development is befriending uncertainty. And so I obviously sit from the entrepreneurial perspective, but almost all decisions that you make in the beginning, you have incomplete data and you have to make decisions anyways. And so it's growing comfortable with taking your best bad guess and being directionally correct rather than searching for a perfect answer, because a perfect answer assumes perfect information, which you can only have after you begin. And so in some ways, making a decision is the perfect answer so that you can get the information
feedback
to then improve the quality of the decision later. And I think that one loop is what a lot of people miss out on, is that they obsess for years sometimes on the perfect pick, the perfect business, the perfect job, the perfect mate, when most of the times beginning each step eliminates the next step, which means the information, the feedback that you get from walking gives you more about where to walk than trying to sit at the beginning in the darkness and pick a direction.
I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone. And while I'm still hard on myself, I know what I did. So whenever times get bad for me, people, all this, who's gonna carry the boats and law? That's real. I hate that people know me for that guy, because that guy is not every fucking day. Like when they see me, they want that energy. That's not me every day. I can extract it immediately when I need to, because when you train alone, and I lived alone for so many years in this misery, and you're able to get out of it by yourself, I can take myself to such a level of real passion and purpose. And like the feeling I get is something I can't even explain by myself. I don't need anyone. That's why people come to me to motivate them. No one can motivate me. I have a resume full of fucking motivation that whenever I'm down, I'm like, oh, hang on, motherfucker. Oh, you know the truth. You know the truth. You know the darkness of the fucking dungeons and the fucking demons that fly. You know, and then from there, it's like, okay, you were there. You know this. There was no one there to pick up the rucksack, to pick up the boat, to pick up the log, to go in there. It was you. It was you. There was no pat on the fucking back at 300, at 275, at 250, at 220. No, that was you. So those things that come out of me, that extract from me in the darkness, people are looking for that pat on the back. Where is it? Oh, I don't need it. Because what I've done is in the fucking unseen work, I built Frankenstein. So whenever shit gets nasty, David Goggins goes, you had nobody anyway, motherfucker. So see how I'm talking myself right now? That's me. That shit fires me the fuck up. That shit makes me fucking nuts. You had nobody anyway, motherfucker. Look around you. There was no fucking team. It was you. There was no weight loss program or mom and dad waking you up saying you can do it, you can be better, trying to build belief. You built belief when you had nothing. Rock bottom. You did that. So as times get hard for me, the truth comes out. And my truth is powerful as fuck. It's real. It's tangible. I feel it. It comes out of my brain as I speak about it. I'm reliving every single dark moment of my life to be here. So that is what people don't get. That is what motivates David Goggins, is the unseen work.
People struggle to do things alone. And the path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people. And rather than fighting that or bemoaning it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place, because it means you're just like everyone else, and that's not where you want to be.
I think the first is you need to work, depending upon how well you want to do, and particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. So what does super hard mean? Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time. And I sort of briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office. So work hard, like, I mean, every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company. And I mean, if you do simple math, you say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company. The other thing I'd say is that if you're creating a company or if you're joining a company, the most important thing is to attract great people. So either join a group that's amazing, that you really respect, or if you're building a company, you've got to gather great people. I mean, all a company is a group of people that have gathered together to create a product or service. And so depending upon how talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they are focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company. So do everything you can to gather great people if you're creating a company. Then I'd say focus on signal over noise. A lot of companies get confused. They spend money on things that don't actually make the product better. So, for example, at Tesla, we've never spent any money on advertising. We put all of the money into R&D and manufacturing and design to try to make the car as good as possible. And I think that's the way to go. So for any given company, just can keep thinking about, are these efforts that people are expending, are they resulting in a better product or service? And if they're not, stop those efforts. And then the final thing is to sort of don't just follow the trend. So you may have heard me say that it's good to think in terms of the physics approach or first principles, which is, rather than reasoning by analogy, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths you can imagine, and you reason up from there. And this is a good way to figure out if something really makes sense, or if it's just what everybody else is doing. It's hard to think that way. You can't think that way about everything. It takes a lot of effort. But if you're trying to do something new, it's the best way to think. And that framework was developed by physicists to figure out counterintuitive things like quantum mechanics. So it's really a powerful method. Anyway, so that's, and then I think that the final thing I would encourage you to do is, now is the time to take risk. You don't have, you don't have kids. Your obligation. Well, I mean, you probably don't have kids. But as you get older, your obligations increase. So and once you have a family, you start taking risk not just for yourself but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out. So now is the time to do that. Before you have those obligations. So I would encourage you to take risks now. Do something bold. You won't regret it.
I try to be as real as I can, because we're all fucking suffering in this world. We're all hurting, and I try to take away all titles you want to give me and let you know that I did not come from that shit. That's why I have to be so authentic and so real about my own insecurities, my own faults, just being a fucked up person. I'm not the best at anything. I'm not gifted. I'm just driven. And it's all about trying to share that message with people. This is all about, you know, I speak to a lot of people, and that's what I do now. I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, be called nigger, be called whatever the fuck in the world, and be able to stand in the fucking room and say, go fuck yourself. I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering. I built it through downright fucking just crushing myself. If it was raining outside at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, if it was snowing, the first instinct is don't go out there and do shit. My instinct was, we gotta fucking go out there. Anything that was fucking horrible in my life that I would normally say no, that was inhumane to most people, I had to go do it. And I started callousing my mind at this point in my life. And I lost the weight. And I went back to recruiter. I got into that class, and I went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. The first one I didn't make it through. The next 2 I did. And that I just didn't. I didn't stop anymore from there. And I started realizing through this process that the fucking mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. And it changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins and I created Goggins. And that journey is a priceless journey that is hard for me to even explain to people because it sounds so quick and easy. Like I lost this weight and I went through 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School, went to Delta Force Selection, whatever it is. It was brutal. It's a brutal journey every fucking day. And everybody goes, well, are you happy? If anybody knows my life story, and I try to give you just a snippet of it, where I'm at today is in front of Joe Rogan telling you my life. To get through where I became, to get through where I'm at now, there's nothing but pride I have for myself that I can't really show people. Because I have this face that they see like, are you happy? What's wrong with you?
Assume you are always right. How many people here, right, you're watching this, know someone who always just think they're right and they're not successful? They get advice from somebody who might be successful or more successful than them. And they're like, no, that's not going to work for X, Y, and Z. Because they assume they're always right. They assume they know everything. Well, if you know everything, then why aren't you achieving what you want? And I will tell you this, from the people that I've met who have been far ahead of me, they have a voracious desire to learn and a voracious interest in learning from anyone and every single possible source they can. And those people have the humility to say that everyone knows something that they don't know. And so in that way, they can learn of them, which is, I think, an Emerson quote. If you cannot learn, then what's the point? So you give yourself 0 advantages. Like there's no way that you can learn from other people if you think you're always right. And I know this sounds fucking obvious, but a lot of you guys do this. Why? Like you'd rather be right than be rich. And it's silly, but it's an excellent way to stay poor.
It's grind season, homie. It's not about today. It's about the future. You do the work now. And all of the shit that you could ever want to do for your family, your kids, your loved ones, it's all going to be on a whole nother stratosphere.
Where I make mistakes in life and have to learn the most, which is always good to learn from your mistakes, but where I make the most mistakes is when I'm in fear. When I have fear and it alters my decision or like puts these glasses on my face that I don't even know they're on, and I'm doing things and I'm acting a certain way and I'm like, wow, I messed up pretty bad here. I made this decision was so stupid because I was afraid of XYZ.
Yeah, well, you're compensating to not do the one thing that you know you probably should do, but are terrified of doing.
Yeah.
You've got this large, important elephant that you need to slit the throat of.
Yeah.
And you're going to run around this entire jungle as opposed to just facing that one elephant. You lean on friends, they help you with lots of stuff, but there's a particular category of decision, or maybe a number of categories of decisions that your friends simply can't help you with. They're not going to help you leave a relationship or leave a job or move house or change country. they'll, once you've made the hard decision, as in the pivot in direction, they can sort of help you speed up or help you slow down. They can bring you into land if you, oh man, I'm going to have the conversation with my boyfriend or girlfriend and I really don't want to do so on and so forth. They can help with that bit. But the actual, what am I going to do if it's a hard left or right turn, there is nowhere else to hide. I mean, you can have a conversation with them and you can talk it out, but there's nobody else that's going to come and leave the job or the relationship or the flat or the country or tell your parents that you do or don't want to do that thing that they do or don't want you to do.
Because now, guess what? Learning is cool.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you don't have to do it anymore, right?
It's
when you're a kid, they force you into this school you don't want to learn, but then when you get out and you realize, like, oh, this actually benefits me. This is making me a better person. This is making me wiser.
It's 100% the reality, and it's weird how it happens. But when you go, oh my God, learning and knowledge is power. Fuck, they used to tell me this when I was 10.
And you're like, what?
Yes.
Nonsense.
10, 11 years old, I heard that shit all the time. Now I finally get it. Damn, I'm about to be 40. Took me all this time to get the goddamn code, but I got it.
Yeah.
It hits you at a different time. And when it does, be excited about it, man. Be excited. I'm excited about what 50 is. I'm just now getting to 40.
So if they're in a situation that they don't like, but it's not that painful, you know, it's comfortable. Well, that's the worst. It's comfortable, but a little bit miserable.
Yeah.
How do you get them to take the leap when it's so comfortable? My boss is promising me a promotion.
I think about death all the time. It's like, I'm going to die. And I think you have to agitate the pain for yourself. Like, you have to stoke the pain. Like, if you can't get through, because like, it would be odd that you would be motivated by some weird passion. Like, not everyone's Mozart and just like, I just love music and I see numbers and colors, whatever. Like, some people are like that, but most people aren't. And so if you're not that, then you only start really liking stuff when you get good at it, in my opinion. And you only get good at it by doing it a lot of times before you're good at it. And so this is why I'm a big believer in this, is that when you are starting out, I think you got to find the thing that's the pain. And like, pain motivates significantly faster and stronger than pleasure does. Like, people are like, no, passion's the right way. It's like, point a gun at a family member, all of a sudden 10 out of 10 motivation, pain. And so like, I think people should use their pain more. And if they don't have enough pain, then one, maybe that's fine and you're a dreamer and that's okay. But I will tell you that a word that I read in my like 6-month journey between when I wanted to quit and when I actually quit, there was this word that just like pissed me off. And it was this in this self-help or entrepreneur book, and it said, there are entrepreneurs and there are wantrepreneurs. And I was like, and it was like, wantrepreneurs are people who read these books and don't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't want to be, I was like, I am one of these right now. And it just like felt so powerless. And I think that my entire life has been a lot of trying to have power. And I mean that in the true sense of just being able to direct influence in events. I've wanted to have more power to protect myself, protect the people I care about, etc. And I felt very powerless. And I think that I was in that comfortable, like my dad approves of my current situation. I had a job that when I told people, they're like, oh, that's fancy. But I felt powerless. And I hated that more than anything. And so I think if I want to say this to anyone who's listening, if there's anything you listen to, all the stuff that I described that was really tough, that I went through, was not as hard as me quitting my job. By far, the hardest decision of my entire life, bar none. Because the things that I was actually caught up with were the opinions of other people. Opinions of my father, and the opinions of the people that I went to school with who I thought would judge me for leaving this good job to probably become a failed gym owner. And how lame that would sound. Compared to consultant, going to Harvard, and blah, blah, like, I was going to go from peak white collar to a very blue collar, profession making significantly less because I quote loved it. And like, I'll say this again, but like, sometimes you have to let other people's dreams for your life die for yours to live. And for me, it was like when I continued to every day not want to wake up, that was my wake up call, where I was like, either I continue to live this way and not want to be alive, or I just risk the fact that I'll die to everybody else. And I think that like, it was the hardest decision of my entire life, by far. All the hard stuff we went through, still the hardest decision of my life.
You know, we're all writing a book. What's your book look like? What does your fucking book look like? Like your life is a book. You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was the book? How good was your book? What was the ending to your book? If the ending to my book can be so amazing because of all that was done, not the money, all that was accomplished, the first to do, the man that did this, he caused the merger between this. Because of his commitment and growth to this, the communities were then given this, made education this, changed the way the schooling was blah, 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 gave books, gave computers, gave all of the things that can be associated with you and your existence become a part of the chapters in your book. So my drive is about my book. I was a New York Times #1 bestseller. People would be done. They did it. I'm writing another book.
You writing a book right now?
Yeah. What happens if you are a 2-time New York Times #1 bestseller? If you get to 2, what happens if you get to 3? Hey man, how do books become successful? Who publishes them? I want to start a publishing company, Heartbeat Publishing. Why not? That's the thing. All I'm doing is sparking the awareness in others to go, why not? Why can't I create? Why can't I start? Why can't I be a business? Why can't I be a CEO? Why can't I be a tech guru? Why can't I fucking create cooking products, lotions, scents? There's so much that some people just don't understand they can do.
Okay, something bad happens. How much would it affect my behavior? Well, the person who's indestructible would have something terrible happen and then nothing would change. Yeah, people don't know how to manage their emotions. At least for me, the more I've tried to create space between how I feel and what I do, the more consistent my outcomes have been. So if I need to create content and I'm not feeling it, or I'm feeling tired, or things like that, the more times I give into that excuse or that feeling, then the more superstitious I become about doing it in the future. Whereas a lot of times if I can just start when I am tired or when something is painful and then still execute about the same as before, I look at game tape or I look at video or look at the content from those sessions, for example, and I see that I remember feeling terrible during the session, but you can't really see anything. And I think the more times you get that loop going, the more you can separate how you feel and what is required. And the more times you do what is required to get what you want, the more times you get what you want.
Look, it's no coincidence that at that time, to have the courage to make that decision, I did have really cool things going on in my life. I'd fallen in love with Camilla. She'd just become pregnant with her first child. That gave me some significance of like, that's what I've always wanted to be. As a father, here we go. If I stick with it, this will give me a home base to feel secure in, even though I'm stepping away from what has given me significance for so many years and decades in my life. Having her to sit there, as much as I knew it was the right decision and it was a 3 a.m. decision in my own soul, she's always been very good with me about going, now say it out loud and here's what we're gonna do. If we're doing this, she's the one that said, this could be dry for who knows how long. You may not get work ever again, but if we're gonna do this, I'll be here by your side and we're doing it together, and there's no going back. We're not gonna get nerves at the goal line if we don't know where the goal line is. We're not gonna get down the line and go, oh, I pulled the parachute.
Even if it's a $14 million parachute.
Even if it's $14 million parachute. Even if it doesn't work out and you become a teacher or you go become a lawyer again, whatever. So making that a choice that was inevitable, that there was no pulling the parachute on, sure as hell helped with the endurance.
You know, some of y'all are motivated by broke. I'm broke, I'm stuck, I'm fucked up, I can't do nothing. Some of y'all are motivated by just wanting to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Other folks are motivated by materialistic things. It's a very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it.
You can move through life at 7 times the rate of other people by simply changing when you say you're going to make a decision from end of week to end of day. So think about how that stacks up. So it's like, let's say that there were 4 decisions that you needed to make. If the normal person takes a week to make the decision, and then their mind moves on to the next thing that they have anxiety for and start making that decision and decide another week, decide another week, decide another week. It's a month to make those 4 decisions. Whereas the Superman that takes one decision day 1, second decision day 2, third decision day 3, fourth decision day 4, they aren't even finished the week yet, and they're where the other person is at the end of the month. And like that speed of decision making, like not paying the attention cost, the opportunity cost of your time, I think it's really profound in terms of how quickly people move through life, in terms of achieving the goals that they set out. Because people are like, how is that guy so young and he's achieved X, Y, and Z? It's like, well, what takes you a month to make a decision, we make in an hour. And then the next hour, I make another decision that takes you your next month. And so like, that's how you can go 30 times or 100 times faster than the quote average person who's overweight, has $1,000 in their bank account, and is going to die at 70.
Could start something new at any time in your life. You could learn a new language. You can start doing comedy. You can start acting. You could learn to surf, ride the one wheel, play chess, do jujitsu, like whatever your heart desires. Like, don't ever think for a moment that it's too late. You can start a business. If you're like, man, is it too late? Can I not be? Don't forget, if you're like, maybe I won't be able to be rich anymore because it's too late. I'm in my 40s, 50s, or 60s. Don't forget, man, Colonel Sanders started fucking KFC in his 60s. Right? Kentucky Fried Chicken started when the man was in the 60s, and he had no social media. He had no Instagrams and TikToks and fucking LinkedIns and Facebooks to promote his fried chicken that's gonna get you fat and stuff your fucking arteries with cholesterol. No, man, he just went gas station to gas station saying like, hey, you ought to check out my fucking fried chicken. And before you know it, there was a KFC on every corner of America.
Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just going to coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello, sadness, my old friend. Hello, depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a fucking human. You're a human being. You evolved from the fucking hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person. Nah.
Well, let's say you've got a kid and you want the kid to improve. You don't set them a bar that's so high that it's impossible for them to attain it. You take a look at the kid and you think, okay, this kid's got this range of skill. Here's a challenge we can throw at him or her that exceeds their current level of skill, but gives them a reasonable probability of success. And so, like I'm saying it tongue-in-cheek to some degree, it's like, but I'm doing it as an aid to humility. It's like, well, I don't know how to start improving my life. Someone might say that. And I would say, well, you're not aiming low enough. There's something you could do that you are regarding as trivial, that you could do, that you would do, that would result in an actual improvement. But it's not a big enough improvement for you, so you won't lower yourself enough to take the opportunity.
Incremental steps.
Yes.
So this is also what is achieved through exercise. It's one of the most important.
Yeah. Well, what do you do when you go and lift weights?
Yeah.
You don't go and, like, if you haven't bench pressed before, you don't put 400 pounds on the damn bar and drop the bar through your skull.
I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right.
Right.
At least err on that side.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you're pessimistic, you're just going to be miserable.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to be around you anyway. If it's the end of the world, you're like, I fucking told you, bro.
Yeah.
The world's ending. Yeah. It is what it is for all. I mean,
enjoy the journey.
Right. If you really want to get morose, I mean, it is what it is for all of us anyway. We're all going to go, unless something changes.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, even if we just sort of existed as humans forever, we'd still eventually, that'd be like the heat death of the universe.
Right.
a zillion years from now.
Right, even if we get it past the sun. If we figure out a way past the sun running out of juice.
Eventually it's going to end. It's just a question of when.
Right.
So it really is all about the journey.
Or transcendence from whatever we are now into something that doesn't worry about death.
The universe as we know it will dissipate into a fine mist of cold nothingness eventually.
And then someone's going to bottle it and put a fragrance to it, sell it to French people in another dimension.
It's just a very long time. So I think it's really just about how can we make it last longer.
Have I told you about the region beta paradox? Have you seen that one?
No,
okay, so this is interesting. So imagine that you had to go a mile or less, and if you did...
A mile?
A mile.
Okay.
If you had to travel a mile or less, you would walk it. And if you had to go more than a mile, you would drive it.
Okay.
So paradoxically, you would go 2 miles quicker than you would go 1 mile.
Uh-huh.
If you follow that rule, the important insight here is that if you only take action when things cross a certain threshold of badness, sometimes better things can feel worse than worse things.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look around and you see that people are stuck in region beta, this zone of comfortable complacency, right? It's the guy that sticks in his just okay job because his boss isn't too much of a dick, but the pay isn't that good and he's not really that passionate, but it's all right, whatever. The person that stays in the acceptable relationship, they're not that fired up, but they're not really in love and their partner's not really got much alignment with their interests. Or the person that stays in a crappy apartment and there's a bit of mold in the ceiling, but it's cheap and it's in a good area of town or whatever. All of these people would be better off if their situations were worse, because it would give them the activation energy to kick them out of the bottom, and their only regret would be not doing it sooner.
Dude, I love that.
This world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness, and it will fucking just hammer you.
It's like a personal curse.
100%. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to fucking say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same fucking mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life, because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.
You still got work to do. Stay on that basketball court. Stay on that football field. Fuck all the homies texting and calling and trying to make you feel bad about being so focused. It's grind season, homie. It's not about today. It's about the future. You do the work now. Do the work now. And all of the shit that you could ever want to do for your family, your kids, your loved ones, it's all going to be on a whole nother stratosphere.
The pushback you are getting is the indicator that you are doing the right thing.
Because they're projecting the things that they know they should be doing that you are doing that they're not doing, and you remind them of that. So even though the mountain that you're climbing is actually a smaller one than the one that you ultimately want to climb, you're actually at the top of their mountain. And so they start tearing you down. So like that's where the underdog story that we said at the very beginning of this with the quote, which is like on the way up, they root for you. And then when you're at the top, they try and tear you down because you remind them of the dreams that they couldn't accomplish, right? And so you quitting drinking or you staying in to work on your side hustle or your project or the business that you want to launch, the podcast, you might be at the top of their mountain. And so they are tearing you down because now you remind them that they haven't done it. And it's purely a projection of them onto you and has nothing to do with you.
It's time to stay focused, man. I love y'all, man. I hope this video makes you uncomfortable. Because I look at this I look at this as a mirror. You get to look yourself in the mirror and ask hard and tough questions. What am I doing every single day with my life? Creating obstacles, challenges, and distractions for myself. Pull it together, people. It's a whole nother level out here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If somebody were to tell me the shit that I'm telling y'all, my life would have changed forever ago. If I had this information right here, before I got in the game, before I got on, man, it would have saved me millions and millions of dollars.
Number 5 of lessons that I've learned in the last 50 years that will benefit your life. And it is that you are more resilient and resourceful than you think, man. You really are. You'll make it through the injuries. You'll make it through the lawsuits. You'll make it through the abuse that you've faced. You'll make it through through all the gunk that life has to throw at you. You'll make it through the divorce. You'll make it through anything that comes your way, because the human spirit is more resourceful and more resilient than you think. But the problem is, people always underestimate themselves. Odds are you underestimate yourself and you don't feel like you have the resources, and you don't feel you can go get the resources, and you don't feel that you were resilient, because some days you start beating yourself up so much that you don't even want to get out of bed. And if you're able to somehow drag your carcass out of the bed, you start thinking that other people have a better life than you, that they don't have the problems that you'd have, that they don't have the adversity that you have, that they haven't dealt with the shortcomings that you have. Listen, I'm here to tell you, you don't know what any other human is struggling through. But I can tell you this, now that I'm 50 years old, everyone is pushing through something, even if we don't know it. Everyone is pushing through something, or has pushed through something that was probably likely going to break them had they not continued to push through. But the human spirit is so resilient, we are so resourceful. However, the universe will not just reward you for being a resilient, resourceful person. You have to be an active participant in getting yourself to that better place, in healing from the sexual, physical, mental, emotional trauma that you've dealt with, right? Otherwise, if you stay hurt and you constantly victimize yourself and paint yourself as a victim and tell yourself the story that I'm the victim and this happened to me and it sucks that it happened to me and how unfortunate this happened to me, it probably doesn't happen to other people, then you end up only victimizing yourself further. And guys, I share this with you because I see so many people in the comments, especially on YouTube, when I post these episodes up, and they go, yeah, but my parents are divorced, or this happened to me as a kid, or love of my life, and we were married 15, 20 years, and she just up and left me and divorced me, and she was cheating on me with someone else. Okay, that's the human condition. That happens. Like, you're not the only one that's happening to. In your mind, it feels that way because you live in a silo, right? Like, we live in a personal echo chamber, and we are humans, and so as humans, we are supposed to be selfish about our own thoughts and feelings. And we just assume, especially with social media, you look at social media, everyone's fucking putting up their highlight reel, and so you're like, nah, no one else got any problems. I'm the only one with problems. So obviously there's something defective about me. There isn't. There isn't. Everyone else has problems. Everyone else has adversities. Everyone else has gone through shit. Everyone else is experiencing the pain and the suffering and the self-doubt. Those who win in life continue to push through, and the universe will reward you and will look out for you so long as you keep pushing through. As I said earlier, sometimes you have to take micro steps forward. Other times you'll be able to take quantum leaps forward in life. But you got to push through, and this too shall pass. I promise you that.
But where do you go to? You wake up on a morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, you've got no cartilage in your knee, you've got shitty shorts, whatever it is that's the issue today.
Keep talking.
You've got these problems, right?
I need you to keep talking about what you were just saying.
It's warm on the couch.
That's
Your
it.
missus says stay in
That's
bed.
it.
It's comfy.
That's
it's
it.
cozy.
That's
You've got
it.
work later on. You had an argument last night. You're
That's
slightly
it.
hungover.
Because I know every motherfucker ain't going to do what I'm going to do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. That fires me up. That makes me fucking happy, what you just said. That brings joy to my life right there.
Why?
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gained the advantage.
Let me tell you something, homie. These women ain't going nowhere. These clubs, these parties, all this shit ain't going nowhere.
God damn it, I know you're a good human. I know there's a higher level human in you who deserves love, who deserves connection, who deserves to be complimented, who deserves to be respected. However, if you don't carry yourself as that person, because you don't love yourself, you don't connect with self, you are addicted to vices, you are constantly watching television and social media, scrolling all day and constantly sucking in negative information from the news or social media. If your self-worth is so eroded and you're allowing it, certainly other people are going to be like, well, it's okay to treat this person like a piece of shit. And that's exactly what's happening.
And that was when like the reality of the situation of like, there was no escape. There was no one who was going to come to save me. And I couldn't blame my dad. I couldn't blame my mom. I was the one who had chosen this life. But the alternative was that I had to go back to my father, a failure, and have him look me in the eyes and say, I told you. And come here, don't worry about it. I told you this gym stuff, this fitness stuff, this starting your own business, it's for later. It's fine. Just go back. Hey, you've got this great degree. Just go to the business school to do the thing. And I knew exactly what had happened. But what would have happened after that is that for the rest of my life, he would have had absolute authority over everything that I did. And that felt like death. And so that was what I ran away from when I was in that moment. Like whenever I felt like my back was against the wall and I didn't know what to do, and it felt like the Instagram reels of like the motivation weren't going to get me through what I was going through because no one cared that I was sleeping alone. I had let them know I'm sleeping on the floor. And a month later, when you're still sleeping on the floor, everyone's like, don't care. Like, great. You're pursuing your dream, right?
So every morning starts with a run. And that's because that's the one thing I hate to do more than anything in the world. So that's like my cup of coffee. And I'm all about armoring yourself. So the second you leave your house, and the second you open your phone, the second you do any of that shit, you are now letting in poison and cancer. So I make sure a lot of things you can't avoid. So as I get up, I start to armor plate my mind and body. Like a person's going to war, you put your body armor on. That's what I'm doing on that run. I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor. So when I come out in the world, now look at that phone, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late. I'm not rushing around. I'm not disorganized because I know I'm gonna get hit in the fucking mouth. There's an art to getting hit in the fucking mouth. And that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself belief. You have to give yourself confidence. So it starts with that run.
If you think back to all the negative situations you had, like the really, really bad ones, when you expand the time horizon, most times they become net wins. And so then it just means that like, if you're in a really tough time right now, you just gotta wait. and then you'll get your reference point back on all the things that changed as a result, because most times when shit is bad, it can't get worse. So then you feel like, well, it can't get worse than this. And then your action threshold decreases and you do all the things you know you should have done anyways. And so it's like we have this big stack of should do's and we just wait until it's 2 miles.
Yep.
And then I'm getting
in the car.
Like the firing conversation. And you're like, well, I just fired one person, or like I just ended one partnership, I just broke up with one girl, or whatever it is. And you're like, who else do I need to talk to today? Right? Like, and then in like you have these rapid periods of growth that happen, and then you have the next web of comfort because it's way better than you were before.
Yep.
And I think I wonder, this is more just like an open thought, but like I wonder how long like more successful people stay in that next plateau. Like I wonder if their threshold for
action stays low.
Yeah, they're I'm getting comfort, like how quickly they get comfortable into like I need to change, I need to get better.
You talk about performance without a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
So, like for instance, let's say you have no races. Let's say you have no classes, no nothing. There's no purpose in your life. You know, people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There is no 5K. There's no I'm going to get into school to be this or that and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's going to come up And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.